Hi students, today we'll be discussing about the chapter number 1 of business and accounting studies lesson. So it will be trade and supporting services. So in this episode we will be covering introduction of trade and supporting service and everything about trade. So let me start about the topic of trade and supporting service. So we'll try to understand what is the meaning of trade, or normally what do you mean by trade. So, in simple terms, trade is very easy to understand. It is the process of buying and selling, buying and selling of anything. It could be a good or a service or any other product. So, the process of buying and selling is simply known as trade. So, to complete a perfect sentence, I can say trade is the process of purchasing and selling of goods and services or any output of an organization between two or more parties. So, where one person sells and one person buys anything. So anything, the thing means it could be normally what are the main thing we will be focusing on. It could be a good, or it could be a service, or it could be any the term product. So let us focus, what do you mean by product? Product means any output of an organization. So good and service is an example of a product. So if you ask from me what are the other types of product, if you, for example, if you take a training college or teacher training institute, their output is what? Trained teachers. So they provide experience as what? Experience as their product. For example, if you take event organizers, their product is events. So likewise, peoples could be product. Okay, ideas could, now consultation is done by, so whatever the ideas they provide could be taken as a product. Any output is known as a product. So finally, what is trade? Trade is the process of buying and selling of any product between two or more parties, and very important, the term this product has a monetary value. So we call the product has a monetary value. It could be measured using in monetary terms. It could be measured using in monetary terms. In Sri Lanka, we measure using the Sri Lankan currency, which is rupees, and we'll see in US they measure using dollars. Likewise, in Japan they measure using yen, etc. So that's all about trade. So let's see what are the main classifications of trade. So if we study about the main classification of trade, trade is mainly divided as domestic trade and international trade. Trade is divided as domestic and international trade, and there are many domestic trade types, but our main classification is known as the retail trade and the wholesale trade. Likewise, international trade, which is also known as the foreign trade, international trade, we also call it as what trade? Foreign trade. Their main classification is import and export. There are another two categories also, import and re-export, but in grade 11 syllabus we only focus on import and export. So let us talk one by one. I'll start with domestic trade. So let's see what is domestic trade. So domestic trade is, for example, if I take, okay, let us assume this is a country. So domestic trade is a trade that takes place within a domestic boundary. So you do trade, bit trade is taken place between two or more people who are in Sri Lanka. It could be that is not, it is not beyond the domestic boundary. So what is domestic trade? The trade that takes place within a domestic boundary line. So what is international trade then? International trade means, let us assume these circles represents each countries. So the trade that takes place between countries is known as what? International trade. The trade that takes place between countries is known as what? International trade. So it's very easy. Domestic trade means the trade that takes place within a domestic boundary, and international trade is the trade that takes place outside the domestic boundary between countries. So I hope you are understood what is meant by domestic and international trade. So the next thing, we'll see what are the main types of domestic trade. So here, as I have mentioned, one is retail trade and the other one is the wholesale trade. So let us focus on what is meant by retail trade and what is meant by wholesale trade. I'll teach you all when it comes for retail trade and wholesale trade. There are some criteria where we can identify which type of trade it is, right? And the main idea of retail and wholesale trade, the main criteria, I'm going to term it as the purpose of purchase. That means why does the buyer purchase the product? So in retail trade, the purpose of purchase is final consumption. In retail trade, the purpose of purchase is what? Final consumption. That means you purchase it for your use. You are not going to further produce it, or you are not going to, you are not going to further produce and sell it, or you are going to sell it to another person. That means retail trade means your main aim is to use the product. In wholesale trade, the buyer's main aim is reselling. That means his intention is to sell it to another person through further process or without any further process. So I hope you'll understand what is meant by retail trade and what is meant by wholesale trade. So we'll discuss about the difference between retail and wholesale trade. That their main features are going to be the difference actually. So let us see. I'll explain you it in this way too. So we'll see there is a wholesaler, and there is what we call it as the retailer, and there is the final consumer. As the final consumer. So if you consider this example, so the trade that takes place between these people, so he sells to the wholesaler, is selling it to retailer. I can call this as what trade? This is known as the wholesale trade. And the person selling for the final consumer, I'm going to call this process as what? Retail trade. So I hope you'll understand what is meant by wholesale trade and retail trade. So let us focus on what are the main differences between this wholesale trade and retail trade. As you all know, number one is the purpose of purchasing. So let us see number two. Let us see the variety of goods or different kinds of goods. Variety of goods they have been they are storing in their shops or outlets. Okay, so the variety of goods here we have. Uh, in retail trade there will be what? Huge varieties or lots of varieties of goods. That means if you go for a supermarket, you can buy all the consumer goods you need, from plastic items to food items, as well as stationery items, everything. But in wholesale trade they have only less, or I'm going to call it as few varieties available in wholesale trade. Only few varieties are available in wholesale trade. So though the variety of goods is huge in retail trade, the quantity of goods or the amount of goods they store is very less, or comparatively very less. That means compared to a wholesale it's very less. But in a wholesale trade, the variety of goods is less, but the quantity of goods they store is very high. That means they have large number of, so you can call it as bulk amount of goods. Bulk amount means what? Huge quantities of goods are being stored. So we can see another one. Another difference is the price of the goods and services, the selling price. Normally the price here, the price is comparatively, so I'm using the word compare, related to these two trade. Here the price is low, and comparatively here the price is high. The reason why in retail trade the price is high means the retailer should sell to final consumer using but they should have profit margin. No, say they would purchase, as you can see in this diagram, they would purchase, for example, they are buying a product for they are buying a product for 50 rupees, means they have to see, they can't sell at 50. No, they have expenses, they should have profit margin. So we'll assume that they are selling at 60 rupees. Therefore comparatively you can see the in retail trade the price is normally higher than the wholesale trade. Right. So let us talk about the selling price. Normally here they sell at a list price, or normal, generally comparatively at a list price, which means the fixed price. But here they provide what? Discount, trade discount. The main reason is due to bulk purchase. The retailer comes to the wholesaler and will say, I want to buy many items, so there are many as well as in huge quantities, so please provide me some discount. Yes, there are discounts available in what? Wholesale trade. And also the payment condition, the payment condition, generally here comparatively credit purchase is allowed, but here it is mainly cash purchase. That doesn't mean he won't provide for credit, he might. Normally you can see there are retail shops near closer to your house, they provide you for credit, but generally comparatively wholesalers will provide for credit because of bulk payment and continuous orders. And let us talk about the relationship that they have with the customers. Okay, so the relationship means the the relationship between customers means normally retailers are in a close proximity, right? So close proximity, so therefore they have a direct relationship. But here that means they are always involved, they're talking with the consumer, so retailers know what are the likes dislikes of the consumer. But here there is no any direct relationship, rather we have an indirect relationship. That means indirect relationship means the wholesaler will only try to, the retailer is able to identify the likes and dislikes of the consumer through directly talking to him, but wholesaler is able to only obtain such information through retailer. That's the meaning of that. And finally I can say, uh, you can uh, you can talk about and finally, you can talk about the relationship, the payment method, the price, the quantity, as well as variety of goods, as well as purpose of purchasing. So, based on this, you can answer the two questions related as what are the features, as well as what are the difference. So, if you know the features, means you are able to explain the difference easily. So, now let us focus on import trade and export trade. So, let's see what is, as I said here, what is import and what is export trade. It's very easy to understand. So let us see what is import. So I said what is international. International trade is a trade that takes place within, between countries. Okay, so import trade means where you now, based on this diagram, you are able to understand, if a country purchases from foreign country, we call it as import trade. So here look, all the arrows are towards the country. That means we are purchasing to the country from the foreign countries. In Sri Lanka, if you consider, we purchase oil from Middle East countries, we purchase vehicle from Japan, we purchase various medicine items as well as toys and vehicles from India, China, etc. So that is known as import. So let us focus what is meant by export there. So if you see what is export, export means where a country sells to foreign countries. So you can see where the arrows are pointed out outside. That means it moves away from the country, they sell to foreign countries. So Sri Lanka exports garment apparel items, our main buyer is USA. Likewise we export tea, we export spices, etc. Ceramics, we export ceramics, etc. for foreign countries. So that is import and export trade. So students, I hope you understood the or the full story about trade. And there are types of retailers and types of wholesalers, but in your syllabus we focus mainly on types of retailers. If I talk about types of retailers, the types, there are mainly I can classify it as, there are what you know, permanent large scale retailers. Permanent means they are not moving, they are staying. Now, for example, you can say Food City, or you can take Nihals, or you can take what Keel Super. So they are permanent large scale retailers. Likewise, you might see there are small shops very close to your houses, okay, in different areas. So those are like boutiques and all. Those are known as permanent. They are permanent, but they are small scale retailers. Likewise, you can see there are mobile retailers. Mobile retailers means what? The people who sell fruits, vegetables, or they sell using a cart wheel or using a small vehicle. So they're not fixed at a place. So those people are known as mobile retailers. As well as you can see there is vending machines. You know what is vending machines? Where you are able to insert a coin and obtain Pepsi or obtain Coca-Cola. Normally you can see those are kept at railway stations, generally in foreign countries. I don't know whether it's not mainly implemented in Sri Lanka. So those are the types of retailers actually. So the types of wholesale has not been discussed in your lesson. So I hope you understood what is meant by trade. And let us see what does the textbook talk about trade. So as we mentioned, so I hope you all have a clear idea about trade. So you all know what is trade. Trade means buying and selling of goods and services. In simple terms, purchasing and selling of products. So you know here the term product means, right, as I said, you all here the term product means not only goods and service, any output of an organization that is used to fulfill human needs and wants. That's his product. Okay, then here as you all can see it's the same diagram. Okay, you all can have a clear idea about what is trade then. So the types here: domestic trade. What is domestic trades? You do business within a country. Main two are retail, wholesale trade. And as I said you all, what is retail trade? So retail trade means, I said what is the main idea of retail trade? The person who purchases for final consumption. So here look, the goods and services are sold for final consumption. So you can see the characteristics they are mentioned: selling goods for final consumption and in required quantity. Means generally they sell whatever the consumers, one, two, three. For now in a wholesale shop, you go and ask for one or two, they will say sorry, we are not selling in few small quantities. We are only selling in bulk quantities. So here the retailer has a very close relationship with the consumers. Therefore, because it is situated in close, that means for customers, the shops are located in a convenient location because of it should be easily accessible to the consumer, right? Okay, and providing variety of goods, right? They sell few quantities in huge variety. And here you can see they have, please read this: importance of retail trade is there. And likewise types of retailers are also mentioned. As I said, fixed large scale, I said permanent large scale, fixed small scale, and I said mobile retailers where you're not fixed in a place. I said the small vehicles, the cars they used to sell fruits, vegetables, etc. Likewise wholesale trade, as you all know what is wholesale trade. The main idea is what you're selling, your purpose is reselling. You sell it to a person whose intention is to sell it to another person. So as you all can see here, the characteristics, based on the characteristics: purchasing of goods for reselling, large quantities, few items, relatively price is low, and they provide trade discount. So based on that you can see they have created the differences between retail and wholesale trade. So likewise in international trade, you are able to know what is international trade: the trade that takes place between two or more countries. What are the main two? Import, export. Very easy. Import means you buy from foreign country, export means you sell to foreign country. So you can see here they have provided examples for import, export too. So students, I'll be focusing on like what is supporting services in next chapter. I'll just introduce you what is supporting services here. Actually you all know what is trade now. So trade refers to the process of buying and selling. But can you all understand, without certain services such as banking, such as insurance, such as communication, transportation, as well as you can see warehouse means storage. This is not mentioned in your textbook. Without these services you cannot do trade efficiently. Therefore these are the services that would help trade. That's what they use the word supporting services. Support. These services support trade. That's the meaning of supporting services, which is also known as, the supporting is also known as aid. Aid means help, aid to trade, or we call it as auxiliary services. So supporting services are the services that provide helps for trade to be to make trade efficient. So I will discuss about banking, insurance, communication, transport in the next episode. So today's our main focus was what is trade and what is the meaning of trade and what is the meaning of supporting service and all about trade. So students, I hope you all understood clearly. I want you all to, before you watch the next video, I want you all to study this perfectly. I'll be uploading PDF notes as well as certain past paper questions as well as some target questions. So in next video we'll be discussing about the certain important questions. You all be ready. I'll be uploading the next video within few days, so get ready. Next person will be discussing the remaining parts. So I hope you all understood the video very well. Please comment, if you all, please comment or mail any doubts you all have in this lesson. uh, so I'll be winding right now. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you.